Hi all, Rick here. Garak has had many identities in his life as a spy, some long-term and some abandoned. So when it came to him remaining on Deep Space Nine after the Cardassians left, there were plenty of questions around him. Was he still an active spy? Why did he remain? And so on. We get answers to many of these, of a sort, over time, but one still stood out to me. Why a tailor? The real reason for Garak's choice of profession is down to other spy-centric shows, namely The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and the book Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. The former saw the headquarters of the United Network Command for Law and Enforcement being fronted as a tailor's, a show which producer Peter Allen Fields wrote for, the latter being a staple in the spy genre where codenames were used to represent various characters. As for an in-universe reason, there were several factors drawn mostly from books and observation. Garak's role as a frequently dispatched agent of the Obsidian Order had him assume a number of different cover identities, such as a gardener, diplomat, black market connection, and so on. In preparation for these missions, he found that he enjoyed crafting personas for them, including the painstaking selection of appropriate attire. While required, his attention to detail when it came to selecting his clothing for a role added to the robustness of his cover, and frankly, he found he enjoyed the world of fashion and kept himself appraised of trends and styles from multiple cultures. Basically, it became a bit of a pastime. Garak had a promising career in the Obsidian Order until his exile by order of his father enabling Tain. While there were moves to have him assassinated or executed, it seemed that Tain may have protected him, despite his denials and dismissal of such. Thanks to his exile, Garak was assigned to Terok Nor under Gul Dukat's command as punishment. The punishment being that Dukat was well aware that it was Garak's instrumental operations that had led to the capture, torture, and subsequent execution of his father. Dukat immediately tried to have Garak executed, but the move was blocked by Tain, so instead Dukat assigned him the role of Station's tailor. This was done to demean the former spy, but in stubborn denial, Garak would prolong the time it took to complete his tasks. This was until he was threatened with being thrown in with the labourers, and he decided to actually apply himself to the tasks he was given. Alongside his duties, he began to design his own outfits and clothes, turning that lifelong fascination with fashion into tangible creations. He even established ties with people like Quark to grow business connections, selling some of his work and using it to buy more materials, expanding his side gig as a tailor. This acted to provoke Dukat further, and according to Garak would result in several clandestine attempts on his life, but nothing that could be directly traced back to Gul Dukat. When the occupation of Bajor came to a close in 2369, Garak's passage back to Cardassia was denied, unlike the rest of the station's crew, and his exile was upheld. Because of this, he was discharged from service to the Cardassian Union, and so turned to the only profession he was known for. He'd frequently been witnessed around the station by other long-term residents like Quark, Odo and Kira, and it was obvious to them that he had earned the ire of Dukat, so this afforded him a measure of leniency. So he was permitted to stay, on the basis that he had a reason. And so, during the Cardassian withdrawal and station claiming by Bajor, he filed to open a tailor's shop on the promenade, and the position was granted. Part of this was also simply that many others were withdrawing from the promenade or planning to, including Quark, now that the Cardassian customers were gone, so there were openings. Now, there was an ulterior motive for sure. That was that Garak, still loyal and pining for Cardassia, wanted to redeem himself in its eyes. He saw the opportunity to remain as an excuse to play the role of informant to the Union. While he no longer had any official contact with the Order or Cardassia, thanks to his exile, the resourceful former agent still had his contacts and ways of getting messages through. This was something that the Order was only too happy to make use of. Free information is still free information after all, but they would not repeal his sentence. Therefore, he needed finances. While the Federation might not use money and support his store for free, other cultures did, and DS9 was soon to be a trading hub. The role of Tailor offered him ample opportunity to mingle amongst the comings and goings of the station's crew, guests, and he was frequently granted access to many officials. After all, a clothier is always going to be needed for a formal event and gatherings, plenty of which were expected on Deep Space Nine, and even something as simple as asking a client, "What's the occasion?" is useful. Not only this, but now it hosted a Federation presence in the area as Bajor's biggest ally. The discovery of the wormhole only went on to increase his access to information and people. And finally, he was good at it. By his own admission, he actually found it fun and had a flair for designs. He enjoyed the creativity it allowed him, and he got to practice his social skills and facades as often as he liked. Part of what made him an excellent spy was his imagination and quick-wittedness, factors that also served him well in idle conversation and behind a designer's pad. Couple this with his long-term admiration for various styles and you've got the motivation, means and skill to pull off his career change. So, what do you think of Garak's choice of profession after his exile? It always seemed such an essential part of his character, in more ways than a barman would have, or a shady merchant, mechanic, or something else. It suited his demeanour perfectly, and I cannot picture him as anything else but the plain, simple Tailor. Thanks for watching, I've been Rick, and until the next video, thanks again, and goodbye.